Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Access Guardian, Mastering IAM in the Cloud. I'm Nandini Bharadwaj, the Operating Officer at CWL and host of today's webinar, and I'm excited to have you all here with us today. Let's move on to next slide. Before we start, let me tell you a bit about us. CWL is a leading cybersecurity infosec company offering comprehensive solution to help individuals and organizations develop essential cybersecurity skills. Our offering includes LMS, provide enrolled user with course study materials including HD videos, PDFs, and wide range of cybersecurity courses. The second one is CCSP. It offers a theme-based labs designed to simulate real-world scenarios, and user can start labs at their own convenience, providing flexible hands-on practice. And the number third is Infinity Platform. It's a plug-and-play platform offering immersive learning experience with challenges across red, blue, and cloud security domain. And CWL also support customized on-site training requests and accept bulk order for corporate training needs. For more information or to place an inquiry, you can contact us at support@cyberwarfare.live. So now let's take a moment to introduce our speaker of today's webinar, that is Parth Agrawal. Parth is a dedicated security researcher here at CWL, bringing a wealth of knowledge and passion for cloud security to our team. With a strong interest of complexities of cloud services provided by AWS, Azure, and GCP, Parth possesses a deep understanding of these platforms. And as a cloud enthusiast, Parth's insights and experience are sure to enrich our discussion today. So that's all about the speaker. And dear participants, as promised, we are excited to share that you will receive your attendance certificate and video recording with the PDF material of the webinar. So, along with that, the participants who are attending this webinar will get guaranteed access of Infinity Learning platform just after the webinar. So, thank you for being part of this engaging session, and we will look forward for your continuous participation. So, here, without further ado, I would like Parth to take over and let's get started. So, over to you, Parth.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. I hope you guys can hear my voice clearly. So let's just start. Let me just set up and share my screen. So I guess now you can see my screen, correct? So let's go to the presentation, today's presentation. Uh, so once again, hello everyone. Thank you for joining this today's session. So I'm very excited to take you on a journey of mastering IAM in the cloud. Okay. So as many of you may know, the shift to the cloud brings incredible flexibility and scalability, but it also demands robust security measures to protect our resources and our data. In cloud environment, physical barriers don't I will say don't exist like they do in traditional data centers. So the IAM, identity and access management, is often our first line of defense against unauthorized accesses. So today we will be exploring how IAM help us define who can access our resources, what they can do with them, and when they can do it. Okay, so misconfigurations here can open up security risks like accidental data exposure or unauthorized deletion and costly missteps. Okay, so understanding IAM is very essential for anyone or everyone working with cloud infrastructure. Proper IAM practices help ensure that only the right people, okay, and only the right resources are accessible, which is a very powerful way to limit risks. So this is what we will be covering today. So let me take you to this thing, very short intro kind of thing that we'll be looking today. Core components of AWS IAM. We'll be seeing each components closely here, what it is, how to set up, and how it works. Next, we will discuss the principle of privilege, which will come under the IAM best practices, which is the key to minimizing our cloud environment's exposure to unnecessary risks. This simply means giving users or applications only the permission they need to do their jobs, nothing more, nothing less. Then we will also see role-based access controls, or I say RBAC. This allows us to set up permissions based on a specific job function, which makes managing permissions easier, especially as our teams grows and evolve. Then the last best practice that we will be seeing is the multi-factor authentication, or MFA, which adds an extra layer to our protection for our accounts, AWS accounts. After that, we'll be moving towards our advanced IAM techniques and demonstrations. In this segment, first thing that we have is the cross account access and role assumption. So let's say if organizations have multiple accounts, organizations can create multiple accounts for their smooth working of operations. So we will see what could we do to set up an access among all these accounts. Okay, then we will see some tools. So first, we will be seeing the simulate policy, IAM policy simulator, and then the second one that we have is the access analyzer. So as the name suggests, it will help us to find what access particular entity have. Okay, to make all this thing little bit more interesting, I'll be showing you how to implement each of these best practices through live demonstration as well. And at the last, we'll be seeing some of the pitfalls, or let's say some of the best practices that we can perform. And this will be the one-liners, like what to do, what not to do, kind of thing. Okay. So let's move forward and let's see our first segment, which is understanding IAM in AWS. Okay, so here in this segment of our webinar, we will be covering the core concepts and components of AWS Identity and Access Management, which is IAM. And we'll also seeing how they contribute to a secure and organized cloud environment. So this AWS IAM helps us to define access through several components such as users, roles, groups, policies. Okay, so this section will not take much time, roughly 5 to 6 minutes to set the foundation of understanding IAM's critical role in controlling access to AWS resources. So let's see the breakdown of this component. So the first component that we have is our just a second, guys. Okay, is our users. So the user, okay. So it is the individual entity, such as employees or services that need access to our AWS resources. Users have specific permission that define what resources they can access and what actions they can perform on that resources. Second that we have is the group. Okay, so group is a collection of users. We can simply say it's a user only, but with n numbers. So if you add if you are a group of two people, then we can consider as a group of two employees. Okay. So group permissions can be defined once and applied to multiple users, making access management more efficient. So we will discuss examples such as creating groups for different roles like developers or admins in the later part of the webinar. Here I'll be just giving the what are the components of IAM in AWS environment. Third component that we have is our roles. Okay. Instead of assigning long-term credentials, roles allow users and AWS services to assume temporary access permissions. This is especially useful for cross-account access and granting permissions to applications or services within AWS. And the last component that we have is our policies. Okay. So policies, it documents that defines permission by specifying which actions are allowed or which actions are denied for particular resources. We will be looking at example of policy structure such as JSON formatted policies and AWS managed policy, customer managed policies, inline policies. We'll be seeing all kind of policies in the later part. So in short, let's I will define all these components. Users are the individuals who need access. Groups help organize these users by function or by team. Role define the specific action what they can perform, and policies are like the rules of the game. Okay, so let's move to the next part, or let's first see the interface of AWS IAM, so you will get a more clear idea what are these components. So I'm in the AWS console. So let's just go to AWS IAM dashboard. So this is the dashboard. Here you can see user groups, users, roles, policies, identity providers, all of the things. So let's say if we go to the users, from here we can create the users. Whatever name you want to give, you can give here and click on the next button. Then we can set the permission in the step 2, and final step is to create. Okay. In the same way, we can create the roles. Okay, here we can create the role. Same, we have to first select the entity type you want to select as a AWS service, as a account, as some custom policy, anything we can select from here. What will be the use case? Anything we can select the services from here. Okay, then we have to add the permission in the next phase. So if we go to next step, here we can add the permission, and finally we can create the role. Similarly, we can create the policy, and if we have two or three users of similar kind, we can even add them in a group, so it will be easier to assign when it comes to assign permissions to them, because we'll be assigning similar kind of permission to all the users. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. Okay, let's move to the next part. So this is all about the components of AWS IAM. Now we'll be seeing the in our next segment we'll be seeing the IAM best practices for AWS. Uh, we'll be looking to some of the most essential IAM practices here to secure our AWS cloud resources. So the first practice that we have is the principle of least privilege. So this principle of least privilege is about granting users or services the minimum level of access they need to perform whatever task they are assigned. Okay, the principle is essential in security because uh, it limits the potential damage that can result from accidental or from malicious actions. So let's see why it matters. So why this list privilege is crucial. Often when permissions are like too broad, users may have the ability to perform actions they should not. For example, an employee with write or delete access to a database. So initially they only need to read from that database, but they might accidentally or even intentionally modify or delete critical data from that database. By following the least privilege principle, we reduce this risk by only giving users the specific permissions they need. Okay. This also protects against potential misuse if let's say, if an account is compromised, even like an attacker unauthorizedly gain access to your account, but they are limited to the specific permissions assigned to that particular account. So this is very important thing to implement into your account. Let me introduce a scenario involving a data analyst. So the analyst's role is to read data typically stored in a S3 bucket for analysis and for some reporting. Since they don't need to modify or delete any data, giving them only read access permissions. Okay, read only access, which makes sense, and also follow our least privilege model. So okay, so here you can see I have added one like policy, bucket policy, which allows public access. Okay, so yeah, what will happen if principle is not followed? Like in this case, if we don't follow the principle of least privilege and assign higher permissions to this data analyst. For instance, like if the analyst were granted full access to S3, they could accidentally delete or overwrite files, or potentially causing data loss or operational issues. Okay, let's see the another case, another example. So there is one DevOps engineer whose role involves managing EC2 instance, but does not require all actions on this particular EC2 instance. For example, let's say they only need to start or stop the instance, or view the instance details, rather creating new instance, or whether deleting the existing instance. Okay, so let's see why granting EC2 full access permissions can be risky. If we are giving this engineer broad permissions like EC2 full access, could lead to unintended modifications to our existing instances, such as accidentally terminating instances or altering our instance security group, which could impact security and or availability of that particular instance. Let's move to the next part, which is role-based access control. Okay, so give me a second. Let's see. Before going to role-based access control, I will show you how you can assign this roles to particular resources. Okay, let's move. So okay, so EC2, for the EC2 I'll be showing you. So I have already created one role, EC2 role. So here you can see I have created this EC2 role. This is the ARN of the role and all the details. And these permissions I have assigned. So this particular role has EC to start instance and EC to stop instance. Here you can even, if you want to more concise your role scope, you can even mention the resource here. For now, for just demo purpose, I have included star. That means if this role is assigned to some entity, it can start or stop every instance in this particular account. So let's go to EC2 here. So here you can see we can assign the IAM role. Actually, earlier I have assigned some other role, but here we can assign the our newly created role as well. So here you can see we can select this particular role and update the IAM role. So now, if anyone has access to this particular instance, okay, so he like it can only stop and start and stop the instance, and other things like creating or deleting this particular instance, he will not be able to do such things. Okay, that's it. Let's move to the role-based access control. So RBAC. RBAC is a method of regulating access to resource based on the roles of individual users within your organization. In this section, in this part of webinar, like in RBAC, we'll focus on how this RBAC allows for streamlined, manageable access controls by aligning permissions with specific job functions rather than assigning permissions individually for each users. This approach makes it easier to manage permissions at scale, especially in cloud environments like AWS. So, in an organization with a sizable force, let's say if an organization has a huge employee base, assigning roles or permissions individually to each employee can become time consuming or frustrating and like complex as well. So to streamline this process, the organization can establish roles with specific permissions and assign these roles to groups rather than directly to each user. Let's take an example. For example, instead of giving individual permissions to each developers in the organization, they could like create a developer role that includes access to resources like code repositories, development environments, and certain databases. Without giving access to uh, resources or sensitive or administrative areas unnecessary for their particular role. So by assigning this developer role to developers group, permissions are managed efficiently and consistently across similar job functions. So here we can combine the principle of least privilege with RBAC. So let's see how we can do this. So here in organization, let's say we have employees with four job types. First, we have auditor, then developer, then testers, and the third, like fourth group, last group that we have is the DevOps engineer. Okay, so what we can do, we can create four separate groups for them. We can assign permissions, whatever they need to do their task on their group. So let's say we can assign read only permissions to auditors, which is sufficient to do their task. This permission will allow users to view the state and configuration of AWS resources without making any changes. So this is ideal for users who only needs monitoring or auditing capabilities. Okay. Then we can assign read-write permissions to developers and testers, which is sufficient to do their tasks. This permission is commonly given to developers responsible for tasks like updating application configuration, creating new resources, or managing data. So these permissions are for users who need both, like to view or to modify resources. And lastly, for DevOps, we can assign admin or full access. Full access permission grants unrestricted control over AWS resources suitable for system administrators or DevOps engineers who need full management capabilities. This includes the administrator access policy, which allows all actions on all resources. Okay, so this is RBAC. So it is basically like whatever permission that particular user requires, we are assigning on the basis of that particular user's role. So if you are a developer, we are assigning this permission, which is kind of sufficient to to that developer. Okay, so that's about RBAC. Let's move to the next part, which is multi-factor authentication, MFA. Okay, multi-factor authentication or MFA is a security feature that requires users to provide more than one form of verification to access an account or to access the resources. Rather than relying on solely on a username and password, MFA adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to enter an additional code, okay, or authenticate using a trusted device, which is ensuring that even if an access key or password is compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented. So in AWS, keys provide programmatic access to the accounts and are often stored in the plain text files for engineers to use in fulfilling specific tasks. However, if the keys are get compromised, it can lead to severe consequences, including infrastructure damage, data loss, or system destruction as well. Fortunately, we have a method to prevent such action. We can enforce MFA. So it's like adding an extra layer of protection to access keys or to passwords using tools like Google Authenticator, Duo, or One Password. Okay. So by enforcing MFA on AWS IAM users who manage access keys, organizations can greatly reduce the risk of unauthorized access. Okay. So MFA is a particularly crucial for privileged accounts or users with extensive permissions. So let's say in your organization, one user who have like access to most of the resources, like it has access to KMS, which stores the keys for most of the resources, which stores credential for most of the resources. Then it is very crucial to protect that particular user in your organization or that particular resource. So you can assign MFA to that particular user. So even credentials are compromised, still attackers are not able to reach or get to that particular user, like access that user thing. So definitely the attackers will requiring secondary form of verification that they will not be able to get because it will be safely with you. Okay. So by this way, MFA adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to authenticate with something they know, which is password and access key, and something they have, which is MFA code, or it can be hardware token as well. So let's see how we can set up MFA for a particular user. Okay. So for this, we have to again go to the IAM dashboard. So you have to move to the IAM dashboard. Then you have to go to the users. Then you have to select your user, let's say backup reader. So this backup reader needs MFA thing. So you have to go to security credentials. If you scroll down here, you will find the multi-factor authentication MFA. So right now I have not assigned MFA to this particular user, but you can assign from here, assign MFA device. So just give any name, let's say MFA. Okay, you can select the device option, like you want passkey or security key. So you can use the FIDO security key. You can like, purchase it online. You will easily find FIDO too. You can like this is little costly, so you can even use the authenticator app or the hardware TOTP token as well. So the cheapest option that we have is the authenticator app. So select it and move to the next thing. So here the setup device steps are already mentioned here. So you can install the whatever app you want to use. So Google Authenticator, Duo, anything. Then it will show when you open the Authenticator app, choose a show QR code on that page. So it will show the QR code and it will give the MFA codes. So you can enter the MFA code and you can add here. So whenever next time you will be as logging with this particular user, you have to mention the MFA code every time when you log in from next time. So this is how you can assign MFA to this particular user, your particular user. That's it about this part. I am best practices in AWS. So if you guys have any question for this particular segment, you can ask now. If you guys have any, let's see if anyone have any questions. How is there a way to get an AWS account without credit card? It is not possible, I guess. Do we get any offer for your courses? So, guys, if you have any question related to our topic for now, you can ask. Rest of the queries we will take after the session, like at the end of the session. So, let's move to the next segment. So now we'll be seeing our next segment, that is advanced IAM techniques and demonstrations. So in this, the first technique or first thing that we'll be seeing is cross account access or and role assumption. Role assumption. So cross account access is a critical feature in AWS that allows secret access to resources across different AWS accounts without the need to create duplicate user identities in each account. Okay, so this feature is especially useful for organizations managing multiple AWS accounts, such as separate accounts for development, staging, production environment, or different accounts for distinct business units. So with cross-account access, users from one account can access resources in another account by temporarily assuming a specific IAM rule. So we'll be discussing about this specific IAM rule. Uh, so how to set up this cross-account access works. Okay. So the process of cross-account access typically involves setting up IAM roles in the target account and granting permissions to users or roles in the source account to assume those roles. Okay, we can achieve this using three simple steps. So first step, we have to create a role in the target account. So here you can see this is the role that I have created. This is just a demo role. This is the trust relationship of the role. Okay. So in the target account, you create an IAM role that specifies the permission needed for the actions users will perform. So let's take one example here. So a role named DevOps Access might be created in the production account with permissions to view or modify EC2 instance, or a read-only role might be configured to allow users to only view resources. Okay, so this is the just a trust relationship. With this trust relationship, you have to add the role as well. Okay, in that role, in the single role only, you will be getting this trust relationship and the permission policy. So in that policy, we'll be assigning some read-only roles. Okay. Step two will be assigning this our trust relationship. So this trust policy of the role in the target account defines which accounts or specific users or group within those accounts are permitted to assume the role. So this trust policy is a JSON document where you specify the ARN of the source account. So here you can see we have specified the source ID, source ARN of that particular user. Okay. And the third step that we have is the assuming the role from the source account. So this particular user will be assuming this role to view whatever things, whatever resource are present in this account B. So this will be created in account B. This will be created in account A, like that. Okay. So this is how we can set up cross account access and role assumption. Now we will be see. Let me point out some of the benefits of it. So first, we have is the centralized identity management. So by managing user identities in a central account and granting them permissions to assume roles in other accounts, organizations to avoid the overhead of creating and maintaining users across multiple accounts. Okay. Second, we have is the enhanced security with least privileges. So the access can be restricted to only the specific resources needed, minimizing the risk of unauthorized access or accidental changes to the resource. And the last we have is the operational efficiency. So because of this cross account roles, which streamlines workflow by allowing authorized users to switch between the accounts without the hassle of logging in and out, or creating new credentials. So now let's see the demo for this particular practice. So we can do this cross account access and role assumption. We can test this or practice this on our Infinity platform. So you can move to the Infinity learning platform. There you will find you have to go to upskill and in the cloud, and then you have to move to the offensive exercise. Here you will find AWS IAM role. Let me go to that. So here in AWS challenges, view all. Then you have to move to the this AWS IAM 01, exploiting misconfigured trust relationship role. Okay, so we can practice this particular thing from here. So you will be finding everything here. You will be getting description. You will be getting all the details. You will be getting the attack path such thing. And if you are stuck in between of the challenge, you can even see the solution from here. Okay, so let's try. Let's start the lab. From here, you can start the lab. So as soon as you start this particular flow, that guys, just give me 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I'll be back. Just 2 minutes. Okay, yeah, guys. Actually, my laptop got discharged, so I need to get to the table. Just a second, guys. So yeah, so here you can see we have started the lab. You will be getting the access key ID and secret access key. Let me quickly mm, spin one PowerShell. So to run these things, you should have AWS CLI installed in your system. So I have already installed the AWS. So here you can see I already have the AWS. So let's start with our credentials. So first we have to configure our credentials. So for that we have the command AWS configure. Actually, I have some other profiles of AWS configured, so I have to use some new profile here. That's why I'm mentioning dash profile option here. So let's just name it as our webinar test. Okay. Let's copy the credentials from here. My bad. So you can see here I have configured. Let's confirm it with the get caller identity command. So here you can see I have a configured successfully. Now we can start our challenge. So if you want solution, we have solution as well. So once we start the solution, so our task is to get the like to perform the assume role, okay, so that we can find or we can get the resources, okay. We directly don't have permission to get to the this particular resource S3 bucket, but through this assume role we can get to that particular resource. So we have here mentioned one tool like assume role nm tool that will help you to find out any misconfigured role which have assume role permission assigned to it. Actually, I already know the role name, so I'll be not performing this particular command because it is little bit consuming. So instead of that, I'll be simply running that particular command. Give me just give me some time. I'll be just adding the name and all the details here. Okay, so that's it. Let's change the profile. The profile we have used is the webinar test. Okay, so we have got the credentials. So what we have actually did here, so this particular, let's say this particular backend developer, okay, he has this particular permission. So we have created this particular user, okay. So he has STS assume role permission assigned to himself, and this particular role that we have used, DB admin role here, this particular has trust relationship with our backend developer. So this backend developer can assume this particular role. Okay. So by assuming role, we got the credentials here. So we have access key ID, secret access key, and the secret token. So let's just set all these details, and to set the details, we have mentioned command here. So AWS configure set AWS key ID is the command. So we have to set up. Let's first let me copy it properly. Okay, let me copy our profile, which is web test, and we have to paste the access key ID here, which is this. Just set it. Similarly, we have to set the secret access key ID and the token. Let me quickly do it. Just give me a minute. I will quickly set all these three things. Uh, copy the token properly, otherwise it will not work. Okay. So here you can see we have set the this particular all these three things: access key ID, secret access key, and secret token. So earlier, in this particular webinar test profile, we have logged in as backend developer, but I have like mistakenly I have set it the new credentials in this profile. So now if we run this AWS STS get caller identity command, so let's just see what it will be showing. It will show us the backend developer thing or what. So here, as you can see, it is now not showing the backend developer, but it is showing the DB admin role. So we assumed it, okay, we assumed the role, and now it is the we are at configured with this credential, role ID. Okay, so that's about how you can perform cross account access and role assumption. Okay, that next now move. Let's move to the next part, which is IAM policy simulator. So this is also one of the interesting AWS tool. The IAM policy simulator is an essential tool in AWS environment that allows you to test and validate the permissions associated with IAM policies before applying them in a live environment. Okay, think of it as a sandbox for IAM permissions. It enables you to check if a specific user, group, or a role can perform certain actions on particular AWS resources based on the policies attached to them. This is especially useful for verifying the principle of least privilege that we have already seen, as it helps prevent overly permissive access. So, how the IAM policy simulator works? So, the policy simulator evaluates effective permissions by examining all the policies attached to a particular IAM entity, which can be user, group, or role. It considers explicit allow, permissions that are specifically granted, or explicit deny, permissions that are explicitly denied, which overrides any allows. Okay. So when testing with the policy simulator, you can specify the actions and resources you want to test, and see if the simulated user or group or role can successfully perform those actions. Okay. Now let's see some of the benefits of policy simulator. First benefit that we can gain from policy simulator is risk mitigation. So testing permissions before deployment reduces the risk of accidental privilege escalation or unauthorized access to sensitive resources. Second, we have troubleshooting access issues. So when users or services experience access issues, the policy simulator allows you to determine exactly which policy or exactly which permission are responsible for granting or denying access. Okay. Policy fine tuning. So by simulating actions and adjusting the policies accordingly, you can ensure that users and roles have just enough permission to perform their job functions without any unnecessary access. Okay. So now let's see the demonstration of this. So similarly, as we did for the cross account, we can also practice policy simulator exercise from the cloud offensive exercise. So here you will find AWS IAM02 enumerating IAM permissions using simulate principal policy. Okay, same you have to start the lab. So yeah, so we forgot to stop the last lab. That's why it's not allowing us to start a new lab. So we have to stop the last lab, and after that we can start our this new challenge. Okay, lab is has been started. Okay, so let's just clear this. Let's again configure AWS configure dash profile web webinar test 2. Okay, add this credentials. So if we just webinar test 2, if we see so here you can see we have logged in with the dev app user. Okay, so first of all, to test this we have to create one policy.txt that I have already created. So here you can see I have mentioned these three permission in the policy.txt file. So this will help us to check whether the simulated user have these permissions or not. Okay. So if you want to see the solution, you can see from here. So you can see these tabs. First configure that guy, then see the caller identity, create the policy.txt. Then we can run the policy simulator. So we have given this particular script. This is for if you are in the Windows, you can run this particular script. Okay. Actually, the policy simulator is for the single entry. So if you want to add a single like search for the single permission, you can directly do with the AWS command. But as we are in the we are searching for more policies, we have to create one script which will allow us to add the file. So through this script we can add the our policy.txt. So it will search for all the permissions that are mentioned in the policy.txt. Okay, let's just modify some details here. So we have to mention the source ARN here. So let's mention this particular ARN. Okay, and we have to mention our profile here, which is webinar test 2. And I guess that's all. We are good to go. Just hit enter. So it will run for this things. Okay. So we got the result. So here you can see for the EC2 start instance, it's saying implicit deny. Means this EC2 start instance is not assigned to our source user, which is dev user. But if we see here S3 list bucket, so S3 list bucket permission is allowed. You can see here it's allowed. Okay, and you can see even the resource name. So the resource name is star, means it is allowed on every bucket, every S3 bucket. Then if we see the IAM create user, so you will find implicit deny, means it IAM create user is not assigned to our source user. So only the S3 list bucket permission is assigned to the dev app user. We can even search for some other permissions. So we have to just add all that permissions into the our policy.txt file. That's it. And we can run this particular script and we can get the details. Okay, this is like very simple stuff, but the working is very simple, but not working. The steps are very simple, but this is very essential when you are looking for like looking for any misconfigured user, whether it has access or not. So it is very essential in that case. Okay, let's move forward. Let's move to the next part, which is the access analyzer. So this is the last practice or last tool that we'll be seeing in our webinar. So IAM Access Analyzer is another powerful tool in AWS that helps identify and monitor resources in your environment that are accessible from outside or from outside of your AWS account. It automatically reviews policies attached to the resources such as S3 bucket, IAM roles, KMS key, and many more to detect any configuration that allows external access. So this access analyzer is critical for maintaining a secure cloud environment as it helps prevent unintended exposure of sensitive resources. Okay, so now the question is how this IAM access analyzer works. Access Analyzer continuously monitors and analyzes the permission associated with your resources. Okay, it examines policies and flags and any flags of any resources that allow access from other AWS accounts, specific users, or even the public internet. Okay, when a potentially risky configuration is detected, it generates a finding that you can review to determine if the access is intentional or it requires the immediate remediation. So let's see the benefits of it. So the benefit that we have is the proactive security. So through Access Analyzer enables proactive monitoring, alerting you whenever a resource is accessible from outside of your AWS account. Okay, compliance. By detecting external access, it helps maintain compliance with security and regulatory requirements by ensuring only intended users have access to the resources. And the third benefit is the visibility. So Access Analyzer gives clear visibility into the permissions and access configurations of of resources, making it easy to identify and address unexpected external access. Okay, that's are the that, so that are the benefits of Access Analyzer. Now let's see the demo part of this particular tool. So we can do it from our console and CLI as well. So let me first show you from the console side, from where you can set up the access analyzer. So in the IAM, AWS IAM dashboard only, let me show you again. So we are in the IAM console here. Okay. So if you move down here in access reports, you will find the access analyzer. Okay. Here you can get the external access analyzer, which is from here, or we can create the unsigned access analyzer as well. Okay, we have two options here: finding types of external access analysis or unused access analysis. This will search for some external access which are open to the internet or from other account. This will find for unused access, like it if you have created some user and no one has used that user from very long, or if you created one permission, or if you have created one resource or any resource that are unused or that are not even touched for many months, like, or many years. So you can do analysis of that as well. Okay, you can create tracking period. You can mention here, you can see the region, as we are in the North Virginia, US East. So it will be taking region from there. Okay, that's it, and you can create analyzer. That's it. That's how we can create from the console. Now let's see from the CLI. So I'll be demonstrating through AWS CLI. So again, to run this, you need AWS CLI. Let me clear this. To run this particular, I'll be using some different profile because I have set up some things over there. I have created one profile of my name, my personal name. Okay, I'll be using this particular profile to run this particular thing, to run our access analyzer. So this first command help us to create IAM access analyzer in AWS to analyze permissions across resources within our AWS account. So to create access analyzer, okay, create access analyzer, we have to provide first we have to provide here access analyzer name. Okay, that I have given as test analyzer. Okay, then and we have to mention the reason. So here I have mentioned US East one, and the last thing that I have to mention is the type. So here in an Excel access analyzer, we can mention two types. It has two types. So one is the account that I have already mentioned here, which operates at the AWS account level, and the second one that we have is the organization. Okay, which operates at the AWS organization level, which will cover all accounts in that particular organization. And just remember that you have to add this account in full caps, uppercase letters. Okay, that's it. Hit the enter before that profile, as I have created. I have other profiles as well, so I have to mention the profile. But if you are starting freshly, if you don't have any profiles set up, you can mention, you can do without profile as well. Okay, that's it. Let's. Okay, my bad. The profile spelling is incorrect. Yeah. So here you can see we have created the access analyzer, and now it has already started finding all the permissions, all the open access permissions, open resources, everything in the backend. Okay, so this is the ARN of that particular access analyzer. Okay, now let's see how we will be seeing all that things that are created, that are generated by the access analyzer. So after a scan, okay, access analyzer will present a list of findings for the resources with permissions, like allowing external access. Let's take an example. So if an S3 bucket has a policy allowing access from another account or the public, so access analyzer will flag it as a finding. Okay. So I will like in the same access analyzer page, you will be finding the in particular that access analyzer. You have to move to there. Let me see if we have that our newly created access analyzer. Okay, so I guess see, you can see a test analyzer. It has already started creating the findings. So these are all the findings that it has generated in 1 minute. Okay, let's see how we can do it through CLI. For this, we can use the second command. So this command will help us to list the findings from IAM access analyzer for a specific analyzer in AWS. So findings are the potential issues where resources in this particular account that we have created access analyzer. Okay, have been configured to allow access from external entities. So to list the findings, we have to provide ARN of the access analyzer in our command. So let me copy ARN from here. So I have copied the ARN from here. Now and we have to mention the region as well that I have already did. That's it. Hit the enter and you will see the magic. Oh, my bad. As I mentioned, I have to mention the profile as well. So profile path. Here you can see here it has started showing the or all the findings. Okay, that's it. So this is how you can run the access analyzer in your account to search for any open or any external accesses that your resources have. Okay, so this is all about the IAM best practices. Okay, let's move to the last thing of our webinar. So which is common pitfalls and best practices for IAM in AWS. So first that we have is avoid using root accounts for daily tasks. So the root account should only be used for account setup or very specific administrative task. Instead, create individual IAM users with the required permissions to limit the potential damage if the credential of root accounts are compromised. Okay. Second, we have is the enforce the principle of least privilege. We have already seen what principle of least privilege is. So, ensure each IAM user group or role only has the minimum permission necessary for their job. Enable multi-factor authentication. We have already seen how to enable the MFA in AWS for the user. So this MFA will provide an added layer of security by requiring a second form of verification. Regularly review and rotate access keys. Periodically review and rotating of access key for users and services to prevent long-term credential exposure. Okay, let me show you how you can do that. So let's move to the user. Let's say this backup reader. So this particular backup reader, we can create the credentials from here, access key. You can create, so periodically rotate the keys, create new access keys and delete the existing or the existing keys. Okay, then then use IAM roles for cross account access that we have seen how to set up the cross account and access and role assumption. Use IAM policies simulator and access analyzer tool to test permissions before assigning them and to monitor for overly permissive policies. This helps prevent potential misconfigurations. And the last that we have is the regularly audit IAM policies and permissions. So it is suggested to do regular audits of IAM policies, ensure that the permission remain aligned with the current job functions and the security requirements. So this points, so all this, I guess 7 points cover best practices and common best practices and common pitfalls, helping you guys to, like you and me, to understand how to maintain a secure and efficient IAM setup in AWS environment. Okay, so that's all from my side for this particular webinar in mastering the IAM in a cloud. Okay, so hope you guys have learned something new from today's webinar. If you guys have any question, any query for now, or if you want to see, like look into the thing, you can ask now. Okay, will you send the presentation? Yeah, you guys will be getting all the documentation PPT recording through the mail. I will suggest you to do the challenges from Infinity platform. It will help you to gain the practical knowledge. Yeah, you can even share your comments here, like how I will like the webinar, or you can suggest some topics for upcoming webinars as well. So I will suggest you, if you are Konduru Lakshmi, am I like pronouncing your name correct? Uh, I will suggest, if you are just starting to AWS cloud, or if you want to start any other cloud, you can go to the MCRT course, Multi Cloud Red Team Analyst course. So it will give you exposure to all three major cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and GCP. And it will help you, like it's a completely beginners friendly course, so it will help you to set up the fundamental base in cloud. Oh, Ashish, my bad. Will you provide the course for us? I can send you the registration link for the MCRTA, or I will show you from where you can go through this course. Let me share my screen again. So just visit cyberwarfare.live, and here you will find all the certifications. Okay, you can see the cloud security path, red team path, blue team, purple team, every part. So in cloud security you will find this MCRT course. You can register or enroll from here. Yeah. Repeat, Maclean, can you just tell me what to repeat? Suggestion on new topic, backend security for over the air updates in connected cars. What are the vulnerabilities? Sure, sure, Guru Sharan. I will look into it and I will see about what I can create. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, now got it. Okay. Anything else you guys want to ask? You can visit Infinity Learning. Let me show you some more challenges over here. Okay, so this is the home page, how it looks like. So for now, like we have categorized it in the cloud thing. In the cloud, we have the cloud offensive and defensive for now. Soon we'll be posting the labs, purple labs as well. But for now, we have the offensive and defensive challenge. Then we have DevOps category. Inside DevOps, also we have cloud offensive, DevOps offensive and defensive exercise. Then we have Kubernetes. Soon we'll be posting Kubernetes challenge. For now, we don't have any Kubernetes challenge. Same for the on-premise. So you'll be getting most of the updates very soon. So we have categorized this all these challenges into four category. The motive of this particular Infinity Learning platform, as the name suggests, Infinity Learning. So we want users to learn as much as they can. So like for now, this particular Infinity platform is free. Some of the challenges are free, so you can go and visit and play the challenges. Soon we'll be posting some new challenges, and we'll be adding the subscriptions as well for some of the good challenges, some of the labs. But we'll be having the free challenges for sure. Okay. This is the complete dashboard, how it's look like. This is the ranking. Okay, you can see the rankings, you can earn the points and much more things here. We have one very exciting thing here. So we have a hacking series here. So we'll be posting some challenges, challenge of the day. So we'll be posting 2 3 challenges per week. So here you can see we have one offensive cloud and one defensive cloud challenge live. Okay. So for now, no one is able to complete. Like only some of the guys are able to complete this particular challenge. So if you want to take a hunch, like if you want to solve challenges, like want to learn new things in cloud domain, you can go to this challenge. And if you complete, like if you get the top three in the top three leaderboard, so you will be getting some free CWL courses. You have to follow the steps. Steps are mentioned in the FAQ. No, no, you don't have to create LMS portal for this Infinity Learning. This is totally different. But if you want to get to the like want to have the course, you have to obviously create the account over there, and you have to buy, or if you want to enroll from there. Yeah, for the course, obviously you have to create here. You have to create account here in the CyberWarFare.live website. Guys, if you have any question, you can ask now, or we'll wind up this session. I guess that's it. So, like it's nice to deliver this particular IAM related best practices. I hope you guys like this particular kind of stuff. We'll be coming with more demonstration, more topics, more new research. So stay tuned for the upcoming webinars. Thank you, guys.